Hi, I'm Catherine, the author of TORIANA, and I'm going to be bringing you chapter 13. It's the new chapter of the second edition, and many of you have not heard it before or even read it before. So let us begin with chapter 13. The Widow. Chapter 13. The Lord watches over the strangers. He relieves the fatherless and the widow. Psalm 146, verse 9. As the small plane came closer to the familiar three-peaked mountains, a flood of emotions and memories crossed my mind. This was the familiar place in Sudan where Martin and I had fallen in love, where pages of love letters were written and exchanged. As I walked slowly up the path that for years had been so familiar, it now seemed more dry and barren than ever before. My heart echoed the emptiness and barrenness I saw around me. Arriving at the door of my mud house, my first instinct was to look across the valley to where Martin's house was. But my heart sank as I came to the realization that I finally had to embrace the fact that he was gone. We had built so many memories here in Central Africa, and in the past I had been used to knowing he was just across the valley. I imagined in my dreams that he was still there, knowing full well that I had seen him die in my arms and had buried him in Germany. As I stood there, I did not know how I would ever manage to go on without him, but I learned to allow myself to feel the pain of my loss and let the tears flow. Only Jesus could take the pain and help me through it, and I know that he sees my tears, feels my pain, and mourns with me. He collects my tears and cries with me. So, as the tears streamed down my face, I was grateful to have a team with me, people who knew what I had been through. They gathered around me and held me and allowed me to weep, letting the tears flow freely. 7 months before, Martin's housemate Craig had been in the village where they had lived when he received a text message on his satellite phone that we were married. He had let a few people in the village know, and in no time the news had spread without cell phones or Facebook, simply by word of mouth. But then just 2 weeks later, Craig received the news that Martin had passed away. He was devastated. Later he shared this with the people, and again word spread, and they came from far and wide to mourn Martin's death. They had so embraced him as their own that they had spent 3 days mourning as they would for their own family. The traditional time of mourning begins with 12 hours of wailing, followed by villagers slowly moving the drums to the dance floor in the middle of the village. Wearing only traditional animal skins, the mourners throw sand and ash over their bodies and begin a ritual dance. On the last day, they then dress up with all kinds of headgear and smear their faces with white ash. Some headgear is more elaborate than others, with a brass-like helmet adorned with large white ostrich feathers. Colorful decorations and sometimes beads are tied around their legs, and they carry beautiful long wooden spears decorated with bronze. These spears are very instrumental in the final dance. On top of the animal skin worn around their waist, the women wear beaded aprons, each with a different colored pattern. The aprons move as they dance, creating a beautiful effect. Normally they dance in a circular motion around their generational sticks in the center of the dance floor. The generational poles are sticks that represent the families within the village. Some women have bells around their ankles that tinkle to the rhythm of their dance and song. During the period of mourning, Craig was given the opportunity to share as he had lived with Martin and knew him well. Craig also used this opportunity to share the gospel of Christ. Having come back to this wonderful place with all the memories it held of Martin was wonderful, yet a very difficult experience. It was good to be back with my missionary friends and community. Many people came to my house to offer their condolences, and again they shared with me that they had danced and mourned for Martin when he died. They asked me if I was pregnant, and I said no. They then asked me if Martin had any brothers. I told them no, that he had only one sister, and she was very special to him. They were very sad, and I asked why. They explained that in their culture, if someone dies, the brother then takes the widow as his wife to bear children in his brother's name. This reminded me of the story of Ruth and Boaz, where the latter became the family relation that could continue the family line of Mahlon through Ruth, the widow. These women were sad because they felt I had no hope of having children. With tears welling up in my eyes, I told them that Jesus knows my dreams and my heart, and I believed and trusted Him to provide. Somehow, through this experience of me embracing death of a loved one, I could understand the Loper people so much more. We expressed no words, but just looked into each other's eyes, and being together we just knew and understood each other on a much deeper level. When someone in the village died, I joined the people in their mourning, and I wept with them, as I now knew what it was like to lose someone you loved. When I was asked to share, I could tell them I knew part of their pain, and that the only one who could carry them through the pain and comfort them was Jesus Christ.